What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Veteran and Rookie Podcast. This is your veteran, Benea, speaking.
This is me, John. It's the other guy on the podcast.
And for the second time, we've got a guest. Well, not the second time we've got a guest, but it's a different guest. You know, we've had David on 4 times now.
Not enough.
3 of the last 4 episodes. Not enough, I agree. But now we're breaking ceilings and whatever else they say when women do things. Kylie's on the show.
Yeah, shout out to David for being the first ever guest. Shout out to David for being David, you know,
For
all
real.
the things that he does.
And
That's
his bald
fine.
You
head.
know, this is post-production, dramatic, slow zoom. This is for all the women who were told, no, I'm just kidding. This is not about feminism. This is about football. Continue.
Yes, for all our loyal female listeners and just all of the many countless listeners that we have.
All of the female NFL players, too.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
for you.
shout out to them.
This one's for you.
There was a female kicker in high school or college.
In college even.
Both of those two
Sarah
things.
Fuller,
Wow.
the GOAT.
Yeah, best female ever.
So today we're going to be starting our 8-part series, taking a deep dive into the NFL division by division. And we're going to be starting off with the AFC North, which is why Kyleigh the Ravens fan is on here. If you're on YouTube, she's rocking and rolling the Ravens. If you're not on YouTube, go there and you can see that I'm not lying to you.
Yeah, you can prove that I'm a woman. It's okay.
Because it might just be edited. You might just be David. I mean,
Plot twist.
that would be quite the plot twist. So we're going to be starting in the AFC North. What team should we start with, Jonathan?
Oh, that's crazy. So
Crazy questions. The hard-hitting questions.
let's just start with the Ravens.
Start with the Ravens. Okay, I
Yeah,
was
starting off
I
strong.
we're either going to start with them or we got to save them for last.
Yeah, I think we should start with them just to get the ball rolling. You probably don't know how this works because we came up with it. So
Oh, yes. We should
Welcome.
explain how this all works.
the way it's going to work is what am I trying to say?
Each position or position group
Yes.
has a ranking that we given from 1 to a certain number that we max it out at, depending on the value of said position.
Yeah, so like the quarterback's obviously the most valuable position, so we gave it anywhere from 1 to 20, and you can however good you think they are.
We'll just go through them real quick. Your running back, you can rank it up to 8 because running backs, they're cool and all, but I mean, we've seen over the last, I'd say, decade or so, they're not the most valuable, even if you have a really good running back. Unless you have Adrian Peterson carrying you to the playoffs, no one cares. For receivers, that goes up to 12. Tight end goes up to 8. Offensive line up to 10. Defensive line goes up to 15. Linebackers and DBs both go 10. We also have kicker go up to 5, and then the rest of special teams up to 7.
Yeah, so after linebackers, we just have secondary. We don't have safeties or DBs.
Yeah.
The safeties are together.
I just call it DBs. Safeties are DBs.
Well, this safety position is
Safeties and corners are all in one.
whatever it is, the secondary. And then we also have tight ends, and they go up to 8.
I did say that.
I don't remember you saying that, but
Okay, just
my fault.
It did happen. And then we're also going to be hitting the over and under on it. And then with all those points added up, it will have a maximum score of 105. So you can be anywhere between 0 and 105, depending on how good or bad you are.
Also, another thing that wasn't like clearly communicated to both of you, that I said, we'll be doing this probably for the next 7, but if you think you're on a certain team, a quarterback or whatever position is the best out of the 4 teams or even out of the league, you can give them an extra point for that. So like if you thought, Deshaun Watson was an 18 out of 20, which is crazy low for Deshaun Watson.
Honestly.
And you think he's the best in the AFC North,
Which he is, obviously.
yeah, then you'd give him 1 more point to 19. Or if you thought he was a 20, you'd give him another point and he can be 21. So with that all being said, you can add an extra 10 points to your overall score, and the maximum score is 110 or 115 with all the
Yeah, I mean, if you were like the all-time Hall of Fame team, you'd
But
be
they're-
a 105.
100
Or 115, I mean, yeah.
But no one's like that. So
Well, except the Browns.
except for the
Obviously.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with the Ravens, though. What do you guys have on Lamar or Tyler Huntley if he's starting. You know.
Okay.
When Tyler Huntley plays in by week 10 to the end of the season.
No, I'm just saying we have 2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks on our team, so you can't say
It's
anything.
true.
You can't say
Which
anything
one will start?
about
That's
that.
the drama during training camp.
Yeah, which one? Well, no, I gave Lamar 20. You know,
20 out of
a 20 out of 20. On
You
my
think
guy.
he's a perfect quarterback?
Yeah. When
Wow.
he's not hurt. But no, okay.
That-
If you think, he has the, where you see he's able obviously to run. You obviously have seen that in all of the seasons that he's played, but now he's also really developing how his pass accuracy and passing more. And then the new offensive coordinator is much, much more with passing, and I feel like Lamar's really going to thrive under that and really be able to be multifaceted in that way. So I think that, yes, 20 out of 20.
Lamar Jackson played 12 games last season, had a 62% completion rate, 2,200 yards, and 17 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. That sounds pretty perfect to me.
Yeah, he's...
Also, he had 100.
Wait until you see his stats from last year.
Yeah,
Or the year before.
186 yards
He had
per game.
almost as many picks as he had touchdowns.
Yeah, just an all-time guy there. He did have a lot of rushing yards, though. He almost had the most, or second most.
Yeah.
And he only played 12 games, so it's just
And he
kinda
does
cool.
have the most all-time in a season.
Yeah.
2019, 1,200.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
That was also 4 years ago. Believe it or not, 2019 was not last year. I still have not wrapped my mind around that.
Yeah. So what did you have him at, Benea, for quarterback out of 20?
Out of 20, I gave him a 16.
That's pretty fair.
That was about as high as I could give him
Dang.
because the last 2 seasons he hasn't been able to finish. 2021, the Ravens were 8-3, top seed in the AFC. Finished the year 8-9, missed the playoffs. Big part of that was Lamar. Obviously,
Whoops.
it's a team sport, but a big part was Lamar getting hurt. I mean, part of it's like he can't really do. I mean, when you get hurt, it's like it's part of the game, but also like I'm gonna knock you for that a little bit, especially when it's becoming a little bit of a pattern with him getting hurt last year as well, and then the Ravens kind of falling at the end of the year. Not as bad as it was the year before, but he hasn't been there down the stretch when they've needed him. Now, when he is there, he's great. Because I remember when we were in like week 4, week 5, we did an episode about early MVP candidates, and Lamar was one of them because he was balling out at the beginning of the season. But can he maintain that? Like, can he get back to his 2019 MVP form? No. Or was that like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing for him, and the rest of his career is normal Lamar?
Well, and I think he'll still put up really good stats. They may just be different than like 2019. He put up all those rushing yards, stuff like that. It may just look a little different because if he's not doing as much crazy running all over the place, because he is more prone to injury, but he could have, exponentially more passing yards potentially. So we'll see, I guess.
He did say he wanted to throw for 6,000 yards this year.
Yeah, he did say that.
Try 3,200 first. You got to hit that first Lamar.
But he shoots high. Come on, don't burst the
Try
bubble.
2,500, baby.
Yeah, well, he was hurt last year. I'm saying like when he plays a full season.
What?
Like 3,200. But that's also because he runs for 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
So
John, what did you
I
rank
also
him
have him
at?
at 16.
mhm.
Yeah, not a lot more to add on to that. I feel like we're talking about this guy a lot.
When he's
but
healthy,
Because
I
he's
love him.
awesome.
I love him when he's
weeds.
healthy, but
we're gonna.
he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last 2 years. And every now and again, he does make some head-scratching decisions throwing the football.
And even off the field.
Like straight just to the other team.
What do you mean?
He doesn't have an agent.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's the highest paid player in the NFL, and he's making all that money besides taxes and whatever, Uncle Sam wants. But
Yeah, cool. I'm glad to be done talking about him. Towards running backs, what did you get for running backs, Kyleigh? Out of 8 points you could have given your running backs, what do you think? out of the 8 points.
that talking went way longer than it should have. on
Yeah,
your
so
part.
did you guys were talking about. Stop.
No, I went 7 on running backs.
7 out of 8.
You're
7 out of
crazy.
8.
Wow.
Because well, you think about J.K. Dobbins, who also got hurt. Why are you laughing?
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Say words.
Well, okay, so J.K. Dobbins, when he's not hurt, is a beast.
Mhm.
Then you also have Gus Edwards, who
That's the bus.
Yes, he's really awesome too. I mean, they both had they both did decently. And then when J.K. Dobbins is not hurt, then we have a much better shot. There's also Justice Hill, who just kind of just kind of lives his life out there. So he's made some really good plays, but he's very hit or miss. But, also talking about how running backs are not necessarily the most important part of your offense. So just because they're not performing as like ultimate top level doesn't necessarily impact the team as much. It's still an important piece, but
yeah.
Yeah, what'd you have yours at, Banana?
I give him a 4 out of 8.
Oh, come on.
Because, I'm going to say this a lot with the Ravens, especially on offense, but they're good when they're healthy. But J.K. Dobbins also, last year, was he also hurt the year before, too?
Yeah.
Last 2 years, J.K. Dobbins has one good year under his belt, which was 2020. That was 3 years ago. And so
he balled out.
Yeah, that was before torn ACL. So even if he comes back and he's healthy, torn ACLs, especially for skill position players, can really slow you down. And so will he be the same? I don't know. I liked watching him run 3 years ago when he did it. But if he can stay healthy, is he going to be the same good running back? Gus Edwards is a good backup to have on that team too, but good when healthy. That's just my slogan for the Ravens.
Okay.
Good when healthy, because I'm also going to say that for later position groups as well.
Yeah, cool. I had 3 out of 8.
3 out of 8.
Okay, wow.
When every single running back on your team gets outrushed by your quarterback by more than 200 yards, you have a problem.
Your quarterback who played
12 games.
12 games?
Quarterback who played 12 games. You have a running back who played 15, 14, 17. Kenyon Drake played 12. I understand
I forgot about Kenyon Drake. I forgot he existed.
He had
that is
480
a guy.
He was their third leading rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Kenyon Drake with 482 yards.
Okay.
Second was J.K. Dobbins, and he had 520 yards.
And he only played 8 games, so this is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Good when healthy.
Good when healthy. Not healthy. If your top 2 guys who aren't your quarterback don't even add up or just barely add up to 1,000 yards, I think that's a problem.
I think that's fine, honestly.
Sure, whatever.
1,000 between 2. Because, even like a lot nowadays, teams are running back by commission. Not commission, that's the wrong word. What's the word when you got a lot of different running backs? Patriots always do it.
Yeah.
It starts with a C, but it's not commission.
I can't remember what it's called either.
That's what car salesmen make.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Sure, for whatever. I just don't think they're that good, and I gave them a 3 out of 10. So
3 out of 8, actually.
3 out of 8, my fault.
Okay.
Wide receivers, I'll go first on this one.
Ooh.
I gave them a 7.5 out of 12.
Oh, you did 0.5s.
I did do a 0.5, yeah.
I did not. I'm not that fancy.
7.5 out of 12. They do have receivers on their team. I don't know if they're like...
It's better than last year.
Yeah. Their leading receiver is Mark Andrews, and that's by 400 yards. He's
Good
the top
end.
receiver.
Well, that's
but he's
tight
the
end
tight
when we
end.
get to tight ends.
I understand that, but your tight end is your best receiver, and then your second best receiver has less than 500 yards. Below him, less than 500 yards, almost less than 400.
Well, you can't forget about all the guys they added in the offseason, though.
Yeah, well, and also...
Well, I'm getting there. You can talk about it when your turn. I'll let you guys talk.
Okay.
Their top 4 receivers are 2 tight ends and 2 receivers with combined less than 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, however, they did add a lot of people in the offseason, namely OBJ. I love OBJ. I'm glad he's there. I would have given them like a 4 if they didn't add OBJ.
It's 3.5 points right there.
3.5 points because OBJ, I think, can really get that team moving, even though everyone's like, oh, he's old. But I think he can either Mark Andrews will take pressure off him or he'll do the reverse, and I think they'll have a lot better of a receiving core this year.
You had Zay Flowers into that mix, too?
Zay Flowers. Yeah, I forgot Zay Flowers was here.
First-round pick?
Yup.
Yeah, buddy. I'm excited to see him.
Yep. I got a 9 out of 12 for the receiver. It was very solid.
Let's
OBJ. Can he stay healthy? Coming off a torn ACL from 2 years ago now. Should be fully healed since he took all last year off. But he also tore his ACL in 2019, I want to say.
He likes doing that.
So he's done it twice now in the last 4 years. Not ideal. I think he'll still be solid. Hopefully his ACL stays intact. Zay Flowers, of course, who they got in the first round. Good pick. Kind of reminds me of OBJ in the way he plays. They also got Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and Nelson Aguilar is a good receiver to have for depth there as well. Like, I like that group that they have, but if their injury-prone guys do get hurt, Nelson Aguilar becomes your one, which would not be a good situation for them. I don't think everyone's going to get hurt, but I mean, I'm sure people said that the last 2 seasons as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and just to touch on your point about Mark Andrews being one of our top receivers, I also think that's because Lamar and Andrews work very well together, and so when they're on the field together, he tends to be Lamar's number 1 or 2 target most of the time, which is why he puts up a lot of those yards too, which, you can say whatever you want about that, but that does contribute to that as well. But yeah, I gave them an 8, so I actually went lower than you, Benea.
I was expecting like an 11. So
yeah. No, I went 8 because in the past we have struggled definitely in wide receiver for sure. That's why I was glad we did some off-season work in that department. I think Rashad Bateman is really good. Again, if he stays healthy and he continues to develop, I think that he can be a really, really good asset to the team. If OBJ can come back healthy and then Zay Flowers developing under our new OC, well, I think that's going to be really good for him too.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we have, Nelson Aguilar, who, as John would say, he is the way that he is.
For sure, definitely one of the people of all time.
His hands are there sometimes.
Yeah. So, I think I have hope for this year. I think that they put up decent numbers usually, and with all this new folk around, I think it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, good stuff. What do you think about their O-line?
O-line, we're going to just skip past the tight end?
Yeah.
I did tight end after O-line. I don't know why.
I feel like tight end always goes right next to receiver there.
Yeah, I had tight end before wide receiver on my list, but...
Yeah, speaking of their leading receiver, Mark Andrews,
dun, 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 dun.
one of the best tight ends in the league.
Period.
Like 3 or 4.
He's up there.
I mean, he had 847 yards and 5 touchdowns, I think, if I have that written
Which
down.
for him is a little bit of a down season.
Yeah, like that was not... like. Did he break 1,000? I
think he did 2 years ago.
I think he did too. I was trying to remember. I think it was 2 years ago that he did.
So yeah, I give the Ravens tight ends a 7 out of 8 because Mark Andrews, fantastic tight end. Isaiah Likely, also a good tight end.
Yes.
The reason I didn't do it higher is because his name isn't Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to the Chiefs whenever we get to them. But
yeah. Well, and also Andrews and Huntley they don't work nearly as well together as Lamar and Andrews do. And so I think that's that part where Lamar was missing really hurt his numbers as well because his number of targets went down significantly after Lamar went out. So I gave them an 8 because he's still awesome.
I gave him a 7.5. I think him being top 3 tight ends, top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
7.5. I'd give 2 guys an 8, and I'd give some other people another 7.5. But I think he's really good. And just looking at yards here, top 2 tight ends receiving for the year and top 2 receivers for their team. I can't.
What were you saying?
I don't know. But the top two tight ends had 1,100 yards together, and the top 2 receivers had 900. So I think their tight ends are kind of cooking. Oh yeah. And that may just be because they have a lack of receivers or lack of good receivers. Or maybe that Lamar just really likes Mark Andrews, whatever you were saying. But yeah, I think a 7.5 or a 7 is very fair for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We can go to O-line now.
Yeah.
Or is that like after the?
No.
That comes after the defense, actually.
What do you think about their O-line, Kyleigh?
I gave them an 8. I think they're really good. Fun fact: one of our guys, I don't think he starts, but whatever. His last name is Falele or Falele, whatever. Yeah. He is at the start of the season. He was the biggest dude in the NFL at like 6'8" or 6'9" and like 380 pounds or something like that.
Big boy.
This dude is freaking huge. So anyway, fun fact. But yeah, then if Ronnie Stanley comes back healthy, you got Moses on there. I think we got a solid team going there.
I gave him just below you. I gave him a 7 out of 10. Ronnie Stanley, good tackle. Maybe not as good as he was a few years ago, but he is a former All-Pro. And then you also got Tyler Linderbaum at the center position, first-round pick last year, going into season 2 now for him. And I'm sure they're hoping that he will develop to be a very good center for them for years to come. And like you said, like Moses and the rest of the line, they got a very solid offensive line.
Yeah, well, and I was sad, though. We traded away our center last year, Bradley Bozeman, and that was sad. One, because having his last name Bozeman is cool, but also because he's a cool guy. But I do really like Tyler Linderbaum, and he did do very well this past season, so that's going to be good. What did you give them, John?
I gave him an 8. Yeah,
Let's go.
I didn't have a lot of information on him. I talked to Benea a bit about it, and 8, it's kind of right down the middle, 7 or 8. It's just kind of, I don't know.
Good offensive line.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, to the defensive side of the ball now.
Oh, man.
We're going to start with the defensive line, which goes up to 15. And I just looking at the Ravens and what they've got there, I think it's their big weak spot. I gave them a 6 out of 15.
Whoa.
I don't like the players they got there. They could really use Calais Campbell right now or something like that, because the players they got there, I'm not loving it.
Okay, well, I personally gave them a 12, so I gave them way more than
Whoa, it doubling up.
Because I think that although, individually it's not the greatest, they don't perform that bad together. So while you don't have like that, like it was sad we traded Calais Campbell away. I really like that guy. And the Falcons don't deserve him, but that's okay.
Falcons
and I think
nothing.
that they work together well as a unit, and I don't think like our defense this year was good. Like the Ravens always have the reputation of like, oh, their defense is really good until everyone, except for like 3 years ago when literally everyone on the starting line was hurt. But in general, as a franchise, they have a reputation of being very good, and I don't think that we fell that much this year. So I didn't, we could use some more weapons in that area, but I think we're doing all right.
What you got for defensive line there, rookie?
I got 8. I mean,
yeah,
out of 15 points, I've never really heard too much about their defensive line, but what I've seen is just kind of they're kind of sluggish and mid. From the few games
I don't know that
watched,
much, but here's my
here's
opinion.
what I haven't seen a lot, and I haven't heard a lot because I don't really pay attention to the Ravens because they're a garbage franchise.
Okay, wow. Who hurt you?
No, I'm not hurt. I'm just based. It's
New slogan for the podcast.
Not
hurt, just based.
Get a sticker. Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
So that's all.
More impressed than I was, though.
More impressed than you were, but I guess not really bad, but just
mid. Yeah.
Like I don't look at their line and see like, wow, you're terrible, but I look at it and say that's, I guess, there. I mean, it's not doing much.
They do have a defensive line, allegedly.
It is the way
barely.
That it is. But yeah.
All right, moving up the next level now to the linebackers. I give them a 7 out of 10. They got Roquan Smith, on that new big old fat contract.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be his first full off season now in the program, and he was a very good linebacker for Chicago, and I don't see why that would change with a better team around him. They also got Patrick Queen, who did get his fifth-year option declined, but also the Ravens want to negotiate with him, so...
And 5 sacks.
Whatever's up with that. And he's a former first-round pick. A little underwhelming, I would say, of a career he's had so far for where he was picked back in 2020, but still a solid player.
Yeah, well, I gave them a 10. I think that Patrick Queen, although it may not be like, what everyone expected from him, I still think that he's a very good player. I mean, he had, I think, 117 tackles, which is, which is pretty good. And then you have, like you said, Roquan Smith, very, very good player. We also have Odaf Owe, who has made some serious plays. Like, he's not as consistent as I think I'd like him to be, but he's made some really killer plays that you're like, we really needed that, like in crunch time plays. And I think he's one of those players that came through like the international portal or whatever. And now his brother plays at, I don't remember what college, and is
balling.
Yeah, he'll probably be in the NFL as well. But anyways, yeah. So I think we have some good weapons there, and yeah. So I gave him a 10.
10 out of 10. That's crazy. That's really high. I gave him a 7.5. I think Benea is pretty close there. I think you're right. Patrick Queen was pretty good. He did get 5 sacks, which is, I don't know if that's a lot for a linebacker, but
That's all. He's a middle linebacker, right? Like
I think so.
he doesn't do a lot of pass rushing, I'd imagine. At least you're the Ravens expert, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
well, he got 5 of
I
them.
don't know.
He's him and one other guy are the only ones with triple digit tackles, and the other guy just barely.
yeah, Chuck Clark. He's not even on the team anymore.
He was a
Yeah,
safety
he's
for
not.
them, and he's not there anymore. And
Still a cool guy.
yeah, he kind of gapped the guy below him by a lot for the tackles, and it kind of looks like he's performing best, at least numbers wise,
Yeah, he
on their
is,
defense.
for sure.
So I think it's pretty good. It's pretty solid at least. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't know a lot about it. That's why I'm the rookie.
No way.
Yeah.
You want to start off DB talk for us? Secondary.
Not particularly, but I guess I could.
Okay.
I give them an 8 out of 10. They just are there. I mean, I don't really know. I mean,
Yeah, I also gave him an 8 out of 10. I think they have a great secondary. They got Marlon Humphrey on one side,
That's that
fantastic
dude.
corner. They got Rock Yassin opposite him, former Colts and Raider. He's been solid everywhere he's gone so far. And then their safeties, Marcus Williams, who is a good safety despite his career highlight being giving up the Minneapolis Miracle in his rookie season. But he's still a good safety beyond that. And then also Kyle Hamilton, another first-round pick from 2 years ago that they got going into season 2.
Yeah. No, I gave him an 8.
Whoa, it's across the board.
Yeah, look at us. We agreed on something.
Let's
That's
go.
new. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Marlon Humphrey is only going to get better, and I would say the same for Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. I think that they're all on the uptrend, and they're going to be really, really good. They are good, and they're going to be even better.
Now,
So,
something I didn't find out until recently is Marcus Peters just isn't on the team anymore. Like, why didn't they bring him back?
I don't know. I saw that
Did he
the
have
other
a
day
bad
too.
season? Or?
I don't really know, and I should ask
I've
my
always kinda
father
just-
about that, but I don't know.
Because he's been good for a while. And
Yeah,
so
we like Marcus Peters,
now
but
he's
I don't
just
know what
visiting
happened.
the Raiders now and stuff. And I'm like, he's not on the Ravens?
Yeah,
That's news to me.
It was news to me as well. I don't really know what
Because
happened.
I'd rather
to be
have him
honest.
than Rock Yassin.
Yeah,
but-
I don't even really know about that guy. So
It's got a cool name.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, so I guess we'll go to special teams.
what do you think about their
Um,
special teams? And this is not including kicker.
Yes, we
Well,
rank kickers separately. So I gave them a 6 out of 7. I ranked Devin Duvernay as a special teams player
Same.
because that's what he did most of the time and did best. So so he had a lot. Let's see. He didn't, and then he got hurt as well, which is very unfortunate because he
Ravens
had 407 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he played. I guess he didn't. He played 14 games, so he was out
Okay.
for 3 games. So he played more games than I thought he did. But yeah, so he was, and his stats were a lot lower than they were last year, but still, really good player. Really good addition to the special teams, and they had a lot of yards on kick returns, like 700 yards on kick returns. So
Yeah.
they did really well. So, anyways, continue.
I gave their special teams a 5 out of 7, just one below you.
Mm-hmm.
For the same reasons. Devin Duvernay, good returner when healthy. It's Ravens as a whole right there.
Yeah,
Their rookie punter from last year seemed to be solid.
yeah.
I'm not
He did well.
I'm not a studier of punter film or anything like that, but
No, you
the
did
numbers
well.
look good. So
Yeah. What about you, John?
Yeah, I give them 1 below you. I give them a 4. I don't really like special teams. It sounds like a bunch of losers to me.
So this has something to do with the Ravens. It is, John. You're really showing your
all the
rookiness
other
right
special
now.
teams are 7 out of 7.
Everyone else is a 7 except for the Ravens. No, I don't know. Glass cannons, they break.
Yeah, and then on the kicker now, they got a solid kicker. I'd
All right,
say.
we have the best kicker in the NFL. Come on.
Yeah. So Justin Tucker, originally I gave him a 5 out of 5, and my notes next to it were Justin Tucker should at least be a 6 out of 5. And then John
absolutely.
was telling me about like if we give him an extra point if it's the best in the division or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just went ahead and gave him the extra point. He's a 6 out of 5 for me.
Correct,
Yeah.
me as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
just the only kicker ever, really. There doesn't need to be
There's
any
other kickers?
No, there isn't.
That's what I thought.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Frosty, but like,
We'll get there when we do.
Yeah, we
He's
do.
also a 6 for you.
stop the cat.
but yeah, I mean, dude is like you. I think we had this conversation the other day. You said he's probably like one of the only Hall of Fame kickers that will ever be, and he holds the NFL record with a long kick of 66 yards. One of the Ravens Instagram posts was captioned "In Tucker We Trust" after like the 4th game in which he kicked a game-winning field goal. I think that was not this season; it was the season before, but still, very reliable. He just gets out there. He had 142 points and 37 out of 43 field goals. So he only missed 6 all year.
Yep.
And that does not include extra points. It's just like field goals.
Yeah, one of those missed kicks I saw live, and it was the 67-yarder.
Yeah, and he barely missed it too.
I thought he hit it.
Yeah,
I thought he got
it was
it
going
too.
straight down the center, and then it just dropped right in front of the goalpost.
I think he tried another one where it was a similar distance. It may have been a bit shorter, but he kicked it, and it had to be so flat that the line,
some dude,
some guy,
Some fan
with like shoulder pads and stuff. He just reached up and like tipped it, and it was just done.
Yeah,
because you have to kick it so flat like that. And I mean, yeah, they just put him out there like, oh, it's a 60-yarder. Just put Tucker out. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, we always. I mean, that's one of the only things that's been consistent with the Ravens, like every season for however long Justin Tucker's played. Like, it's just been the same, which is awesome.
He's either been first team or second team All-Pro all of his years of playing, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we looked it up.
I think it was like 2 years that he's been second team, but the rest of it's been first team.
Yeah, he's
And always a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
So what's
legend
your,
for real.
So your guys' final scores now?
My
out of
overall,
105.
actually, I'm gonna let Banana go first because I think it's gonna be most realistic, and then I'm gonna be low and Kylie's gonna be high.
Oh, okay,
That's
probably.
honestly facts.
So I went 75 out of 105.
Okay.
I think let's see. I think mine was 92 out of
Holy
105.
Did you add them all together?
Yeah, unless I added it up wrong, but no, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
92.
Wow.
And did you make
92.
Tucker? Did you make Tucker a 6 out of 10 or 6 out of 5?
No, that would be 93.
93 overall. Yeah, I went a little bit more realistic. I gave him a 73.5 out of
Almost
100.
a 20-point difference.
Almost
between
a
you
20
and
well,
point
Kylie.
difference between me
but
and Kylie and 2 points between
The thing
me and
is, John, it's also because you just have a thing out for the Ravens. So
I don't. I gave
You
him pretty fair
absolutely
scores.
do. That
think
none of that was.
Okay.
You said special teams are a 4 because I don't like special teams.
I don't know. I just gave him a 4 because
You did say that.
I don't know. Sure. Give him a 7 out of 10. That gives 3 points up. That's a 60 or it's a 76.
Yeah.
What
barely
does
higher
that
than
change?
But I mean, also, if we're talking about the Ravens as a whole, you know, they have a head coach who's one of the best head coaches, you know, probably ever. You know, yeah,
In the league today.
And right now, John Harbaugh is one of the, you know, he's very well respected. So you have that going for you. We have a new offensive coordinator. We have a good defensive coordinator. You know, I think that this upcoming year, we're going to be one to watch for sure.
I think they'll be pretty good. For me, a 75 of 100, that's a pretty good score to have. That's probably a 10 or 11 win team. Speaking of wins, the line at Vegas has them at 9.5. Are you taking the over or the under?
Oh, well, I'll let John go first.
Yeah, I'm taking that over. I think, especially with the new receivers and the new pieces that they've added, and they got 10 wins last season with Lamar out for 5 games. So I think they can do that again, especially if he doesn't get hurt.
Absolutely.
I'll take over, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also taking the over.
Yeah.
And you're taking the under? Or
Yeah. No, I'm for sure taking the over. I see them winning 12 or 13 games, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah, I can see 11.
Moving on now.
John, you're the worst.
We do need to pick up the pace just a little bit, otherwise this will be a 2-hour podcast.
We
because
also,
that took
but we
us
also knew we
half
were
an hour
gonna
to get through the Ravens.
We also knew we were gonna take much longer on the Ravens because I have way more opinions on them.
Yeah.
So
That's okay because we're going to do the Browns next, and that's going to take all of 5 minutes. So,
yeah.
what do you guys think about their quarterback or quarterbacks, maybe?
Okay. So I just was ranking them based on Deshaun Watson because he's gonna
same.
start for them next year, and so that's really. And I gave him a solid 10 out of 20 because not only is he a terrible person, But he's also came back to football and played terribly.
Just balled out. For
And I mean, if your own stadium is booing you and it's Cleveland, then I think you have some problems.
Yeah, and they're very used to losing, and
that's what I'm saying. Like
just Deshaun Watson comes.
Deshaun
Watson,
super upset.
Yeah, it's like
craziness there happening.
Yeah, so solid 10.
Big old loser for sure.
I gave
that
him
is the way that he is.
I gave him an 11 out of 20. If he plays as bad this year as he did last year, I think I'd give him like a 7 or something like that. But I think he's gonna be solid. I don't know if we're gonna get the superstar from like 2019 in Houston that he was, because there were those like 2 years, 2018, 2019. He was just a baller, and then of course he didn't play for a few years, went out, was a terrible person, yada yada yada. Came back to football, wasn't very good last season, but I think there is a universe where Deshaun Watson is like back to his old form, and the Browns are very good this season. But we'll get to the rest of the team here in a minute. But I think the old Deshaun Watson could come back. I think he'll at least be solid though, which is why he's an 11 for me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, just the short amount that I watched him, and I try not to watch Browns games just because I value my time. And it was just not a good thing to watch. I haven't heard good things about him.
No one ever says anything good about the Browns.
And I haven't heard good things about Deshaun Watson besides his years elsewhere. Off the field, he was not a good person.
Yeah.
And then in training camp, he was not good. And then he came back out of training camp because he was suspended for not being a good person. And then he was hot, stinky garbage. and then also, to add on to all that, he plays for the Browns. So with all that being said, I don't think he'll be good this year. I don't think the Browns will be good. There's no way.
So
I gave him a 4 out of 20.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. You're taking the under on that for sure.
I'm excited now
fair.
for when we do the AFC West and where you put Russ.
But
compared to him.
There is a good thing about the Browns. His name is Nick Chubb.
Ooh, running back.
Factual
Running
facts
backs.
right there.
I guess I told you guys too late with this, or maybe I didn't reiterate it when I told you earlier, but the point above thing for being the best, I think Nick Chubb's the best in this division by a lot. He's the best running back for sure, and his stats this year prove that. He was the best player on the Browns. I gave him a 9 out of 8, or I gave him an 8, and then I added that extra point.
Yeah.
He is that guy. He is the Browns right now, and however much you guys are high on Deshaun Watson, I don't think so. I think still be very hard leaning on that running back there.
Agreed. I gave him an 8 out of 8. I didn't give him that extra point, but yeah, 8 out of 8. Nick Chubb might be the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I gave him an 8 too, because and they also have Kareem Hunt, who is.
Well, not anymore.
But
he's a free agent.
Well, I know they used to, and actually, there's talk of him coming to Baltimore now.
Ooh,
but they did. In retrospect, they had him
women
too.
respecter Kareem Hunt.
He isn't. So
okay. Anyways,
wide receiver. I like their wide receiver room. I gave him.
Kyleigh, what did you give him out of 8?
I said 8.
8. She's
okay, sorry, I
yeah.
wasn't listening.
Clearly, their wide receiver room. I gave him a 7 out of 12. I like. Amari Cooper is a solid number 1 receiver to have, and Donovan Peoples-Jones also a pretty solid receiver. They did trade for Elijah Moore from the Jets in the offseason. He wasn't very good his first 2 seasons in New York. I don't really have a reason to think he's going to be good in Cleveland. There's some people that are hyping him up. I'm like, whatever. And then Marquise Goodwin is also some solid depth on that team there, former Niner and Seahawk.
Yeah, I give them a 7 as well. I agree. I like Marquise Goodwin a lot. I like the way that he plays. I think he's a good
fast dude.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, but not except that he's on Cleveland. So don't really like to watch it.
John?
Yeah, I gave him an 8. I really like Amari Cooper, and I had Donovan Peoples-Jones on my fantasy team, and he kind of did me good towards the end of the season there, and 1,100 yards is not too shabby, Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And then 800 yards for your secondary receiver.
Especially with the quarterbacks he was dealing with.
Exactly, I'm saying. So you had Jake Brisket and Jacoby Brissett.
I always call him Jake Brisket. So.
Jake Brisket.
That's way more fun.
Yeah, Jake Brisket, and you had terrible Deshaun Watson.
And still at 1,100 yards.
Alongside the fact that your running back is one of the best in the league, and you'd run the ball a lot, still getting 1,100 yards is pretty good. And I gave him an 8 out of 12 there.
Moving on to tight end. What do you guys have for Cleveland's tight ends?
I would give him a 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, they have David Njoku, wherever you say his last name.
Nailed it.
He's pretty good. Who's the other one they have? Harrison Bryant.
And they
That
also
guy.
got Jordan Atkins.
I was like, I knew there was one I was missing. Yeah, so they're all decent. They're fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're no Mark Andrews.
I also gave him a 5 out of 8. David Njoku, he's been a fine tight end. He got an extension last season, I want to say.
Yeah, he's got a cool name.
Sticking around in Cleveland. Cool name. Flashy tight end. Good player.
Yeah, I was really busy this week. I didn't have a lot of time to write stuff down. I think a 5 sounds pretty close to what Njoku is. I believe he was hurt a little bit this season.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Njoku, he played 14 out of 17 games. He had 600 yards. That's not bad.
Especially for a tight end, yeah.
Especially for a tight end, that's pretty good, actually. And, Harrison Brent, I guess, is their other tight end.
But yeah.
Bryant, something like that. I can't read.
Clearly.
I get it. They're solid. They're better than other tight ends, especially Njoku. He's better than other tight ends. He's obviously not, upper echelon, but he's there. So I think 5 out of 8 is good. He's just above mid.
Offensive line. I gave Cleveland's offensive line an 8 out of 10. I think they got a pretty solid player. They got Joe Patino, or however you say his name. He's their guard. I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's made 5 straight Pro Bowls now. So he's been real good for the last 5 seasons. And then their tackle, Jack Conklin, is also a 2-time first-team All-Pro.
Man.
Yeah. I like that guy. I also gave them an 8. What did you give them, John?
Again, I don't know too much about this.
John doesn't have rankings for any of these right now.
Just
a lot of
just
the
say a
Brown
number.
stuff is just I can't.
He's just gonna go with the consensus 8.
I think don't like wasting my time. Browns games, but Deshaun Watson definitely did have time to throw all those passes to the ground. So
Yep.
good for him, but good for them. And then your tight end or your quarterback just throws it to absolutely nobody, or maybe the wrong team even.
Maybe even.
So sure, 8 sounds right.
All right, jumping over to the defensive side of the ball with the defensive line. Obviously, you got Myles Garrett there on the defensive line. You also got Zadarius Smith. He's pretty good as well. They just traded for him from the Vikings. I have my thoughts on Zadarius Smith as a Packers fan. He's now pissed off half of the NFC North. So we'll see if he does anything in Detroit or Chicago in his future. But right now he's on Cleveland. Got 10 sacks last year. Year before that was hurt. But the 2 seasons before that, double-digit sacks also. So I think that production will continue. And I'm giving their defensive line a 13 out of 15.
I went 14. And, if you look at, Myles Garrett's stats, he had 16 sacks.
And he's had 16 back-to-back years now.
That's ridiculous. So, yeah. And, yeah, he's just really good. So I gave them a 14.
What do you got, rookie?
Yeah, I've been looking at these stats for the past 5 seconds, and I think 12 is a accurate number for that out of 15. I mean, there's always improvements you can have. 13, just from the brief look I had and from what I've heard, is a high for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just only leaving 2 points there for improvement. I think they can have a bit more improvement than that. But, yeah.
Future Hall of Famer on that line, though.
Future Hall of Famer on that line, but team sport.
True.
Team sport, Myles Garrett.
True.
Factual
16 sacks, though.
right there.
So,
Yeah.
but if you look at the next person down from Myles Garrett, it's 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Well, but Zadarius Smith wasn't there last year. You're not looking at his numbers.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways, moving on.
Moving to the linebackers.
Yep.
What do you got those at, Kyleigh?
I have them at a 6.
Ooh, samesies.
I think that they're okay. They are the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that they're not terrible. They're just, they're doing what they do.
Yeah, they don't have any superstars in that linebacking core, but they got some solid players. They got Anthony Walker Jr. and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, both solid linebackers for them last year, and
I had
I
no
would
idea how
imagine
to
they
say
continue
that,
doing that.
but now I do.
I was winging it.
Well, it sounded believable. So what did you have, John, or what are you thinking
What are
of
you
that?
about to put down?
I put it down already. I had a 5.5.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Yep,
just
half
above
point
okay.
below.
Because 5 is just like, you know.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit better than that. They're not. They're just kind of
That
and
Yeah.
okay. Then that's really
Just
not
like
a
that.
necessary way to describe that. But anyways,
I mean, that's. Am I wrong?
It's accurate, though.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the secondary now. I gave them a 7 out of 10. Denzel Ward is one of the best corners in the league, and so I'd imagine he's going to keep that up. They signed Juwan Thornhill from Kansas City to be a safety for them, and he was pretty good in KC. He's got himself at least one ring now. I don't know how long he was in Kansas City. Their other safety is Grant Delpit. He's fine. And then Greg Newsome, opposite of Denzel Ward at corner. Solid player.
Grant Delpit is what you said?
Yep.
Most tackles on their team and most solo tackles. Either getting it done or just getting burnt and then,
Yeah, or he's making
passing down.
tackles 20 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so, I mean, tackles are really the best way to describe that. But he did have 4 picks, and picks are cool. They had turnovers. And so I gave him a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe a bit high, but that's the way I put it. So
yeah, I gave him 7.
I mean, I was a bit high then.
I mean, you
Well,
only,
but
you only
you're-
went 0.5 above us.
Yeah, so you're only 0.5. And yeah, like you said, they have Denzel Ward, which he's like 4 of those 7. But we're doing good.
4.5 for me.
And okay, so special teams, they actually had the most kick return yards in the AFC North by
That's
quite a bit.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They had 943 kick return yards versus Baltimore's 659.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of weird that's just like what they do apparently. But yeah, so I gave him a 7.
7 out of 7. I went one below. I gave him a 6 out of 7. They signed Jakeem Grant in the offseason as well to be their new return man. And since 2016, he's been one of the best kick and punt returners in the league. I think he has 1 or 2 touchdowns every season returning. So they got him on the squad now.
Special teams, I had a 6 as well.
There we go.
The return yards kind of speak for themselves. That's
Now
crazy.
they got a better guy doing it.
Yeah, for real.
Kicker, Cade York was solid as a rookie last year. He hit 75% of his field goals. I'm giving him a 3 out of 5.
Hey, me too.
Whoa.
I give him a 3.5.
John, what
You
is
just have
with
to
the
be
half
so
point?
special with the halves.
I had it written down before you guys said that. I didn't even know.
Well, and he had the shortest long of anyone in the AFC North at 58 yards, which is still pretty good.
that is pretty good.
But he was still the least, and he had 24 out of 32 field goals and 107 points all by his own self. So
yeah, but
go
when you're
him,
in
I
the-
guess.
When you're in the same division as Justin Tucker and Evan McPherson, I mean, those are
And Chris Boswell.
And
we'll
Chris
get
Boswell.
to the Steelers when we do, but
if you're the 4th best out of them, you're not doing too bad.
Yeah.
He's not bad. He's just the way he is.
so what is your total points?
Shoot, I gotta add them up.
Okay, John's got to add his up real quick.
75.
Ooh, I had a 74
Oh my goodness.
out of 105. Like I said, I think Cleveland has a very solid roster. Obviously, a lot of it depends on Deshaun Watson. What version of Deshaun Watson are we going to be getting? Because if he's good, they could win 11 or 12 games, honestly.
Yeah.
If he plays like he did last year, they
Which he
might only win
probably
7
will.
or 8.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, their big issue, I would say, is probably their defense.
Yeah.
And it's not even the skill on their defense. It's just last year their defensive coordinator was terrible. And so I think they have a new defensive coordinator now, so hopefully he can, maximize their talent.
Yeah, I had them at 68.5.
Wow, you had them much
Wow.
lower.
I don't think
John
the Browns are going
hates
to be good this
every
year. I
team.
still don't think they're
Well-
going to be good. I mean,
I mean, you did. Give
I like
Deshaun
to
Watson
bet
a
on
4.
Cleveland's demise too, so anyways.
it's not a hard bet either. It's like they always do it.
Yeah, they're easy to hate.
So what are your guys' over and unders for Cleveland? Vegas has their line at 8.5.
Yeah, I'm smashing that under hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely.
No way.
Yeah, I feel like any of these teams, especially Bengals and Ravens, but even the Steelers, which we'll get to in a second, and then the Browns, could hit at least 10 wins. But one of those teams is going to disappoint, and if I had to choose,
gonna
I'd say
be the
Cleveland.
Browns.
So I'm going to take the under on that as well.
I say they win like 6 or 7 games, to be honest.
I
Wow.
don't know about all that.
Yeah, because you said they're going to win 3 games on the last episode.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance that they won't win many games.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm definitely taking under.
Under for sure. Okay, so we're doing the
Big time.
Steelers or are we doing the Bengals next?
We can go Pittsburgh.
Okay. So I ranked Kenny Pickett at a solid 10, as I did Deshaun Watson, because I think that he is probably going to be good, but he was mediocre. Absolutely mid. And so I think that, he has the potential to be very, very good, but he is not right now. So
Yeah, I'm
I
right
give
there
him a
with
10.
you. I gave him a 10 out of 20 as well. See how he develops going into season 2.
yeah.
I give him a 13. I have some hope.
Wow.
Oh,
You
gave
high
him
on Kenny
almost,
Pickett.
You gave him more than 4 times better than Deshaun Watson.
I gave him 3 times better, but 4 times would be 16.
Shut up.
I think he'll be good this year. I don't know. He has, I think, who should have been rookie of the year or offensive rookie of the year in Kenny Pickett or not Kenny Pickett, George Pickens.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
He was really good. He
Jumping straight to receiver.
Yeah.
We're just moving on in.
Sorry. I just think he'll have these targets to throw to, and I think Najee Harris is going to be. Najee Harris is staying, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he can be a good
Agree.
weapon as well. I just think he can develop this year. Rookie season is always bad, so I mean, I think at least a 13. I think he could be even better. And I think he could take him to at least a 10-win season for sure.
All right, well, let's talk about his weapons real quick then. Running back, he's got Najee Harris and Jalen Warren as the 2 guys in the backfield there. I gave them a 4 out of 8.
Really? That's it?
I gave him a 5, so I'm not much better.
I gave him a 6.5. I was.
Wow.
What is with your half points?
I don't know. I just.
Warren has half points. Name a more iconic duo. You can't. Well, Ravens getting hurt, but other than those 2.
Okay, that's quite enough out of you. Anyways, I think Najee Harris is cool. But if you look at Najee Harris's yards, he broke 1,000 barely, and then Jalen Warren has not even 400. So
He also averaged much more yards per carry, though.
that is true. But at the same time, he had they're on different levels. So I think that they need
for sure.
either Jalen Warren needs to get better, or they need to get someone else to play opposite or with Najee Harris, so that he's not the only target, because that's when they get into trouble, is when they only have one decent target, and then
I like their wide receiver core, though. I gave him an 8 out of 12 there. Solid. Deontay Johnson's a good, I'd say, underrated receiver. George Pickens, of course, who you absolutely adore. He's
your favorite in the whole world.
Good receiver. And then they also have the corpse of Allen Robinson, which, I mean, that should be a solid trio.
The corpse. That's great. I also gave them an 8. So, we're on the same wavelength here. John gave them a 7.5.
No, here's the thing. I gave him an 8.25.
Oh my gosh, John.
Well, I mean, what's the problem? It's a
How
quarter.
far are you going to take these decimals?
8.25. I don't see why 8.25 or and a half.
What's that quarter? Is that quarter the corpse of Allen Robinson?
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's all he's worth?
I think they're just over a little bit of 8. And
okay.
Yeah, I think
just had to be that much better than us, huh?
Yep.
Well, no, it's the receivers that are better. It's not me.
Okay. Whatever you say. Tight end, more weapons for Pickett to throw to. Pat Freiermuth going into year 3. It might be even year 4 for him. He's a good tight end. And, of course, another player that you absolutely adore, Darnell Washington, took him in the 3rd round. Are you a Steelers fan?
No.
You better not be.
Darnell Washington's that giant, right?
Uh-huh. He's got the arm span that is bigger than Shaq or something like that, right?
He's 6'7", has the wingspan of Shaquille O'Neal. Fast as can be. He jumps super high. He runs fast.
It's all John wanted to talk about during the draft was that one dude.
Darnell Washington, who fell to the 3rd round.
I think that's crazy. I think he'll perform really well.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he'll pair really well. With the receiver or the tight end that they have for their tight end by himself. He got 730 yards, so that's not that bad. And I think with Darnell Washington, that crazy one-handed, like 2-finger catch.
Yeah.
That he had to jump up behind him because whoever threw it to him was terrible. And he had to jump up and spin around the whole way, and he just grabbed it and yanked it out of the sky. I think he can be really good. Another really good weapon. A lot of young guys.
I give their tight end group a 5 out of 8.
Ooh, what? Dude, me too. We're just
on
ranking the
the same
Steelers
wavelength.
the same.
I gave it a
here.
6. I have hope for their rookie.
Yeah, I think the big thing with Washington is it's going to take him a year or 2 to really establish himself.
Yeah. I think we'll see. Because some of them are good in their rookie year, and I'm hoping for that. I want to see him do good.
All right, offensive line. I gave them a 7 out of 10 on the O-line. They signed Isaac Sumalu from the Eagles. So they got a player from the best offensive line in the league last year. And then they also drafted tackle Bernardrick Jones in the first round. I think that helps really shore up their line.
I also have him at a 7. I mean, yeah, you hit it right on the head.
Boom. Nailed it.
I gave him an 8, so I was one above you guys.
Oh, you had to be that much
These
better than
AFC
us.
North teams have some pretty offensive lines so far.
Yeah, they do. Then that's I think I gave all the offensive lines an 8. Everyone's team.
Oh, wow.
So, because I think that everyone is pretty good. You
Yeah.
know? They're
It's
good.
that AFC North, ground and pound football.
Yeah, let's
old
go.
school.
Well, and yeah, even though the Steelers are probably the worst team ever,
They only
whatever.
have 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, okay. Why do you think they call it a terrible towel? Because they're terrible. So, shut up.
Terrible
Anyways.
enough to win 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, well, whatever you say. They
Yeah,
don't.
one of the
They
best
were only
quarterbacks
cool
of
when
all
they had
time.
Big Ben. So,
Yeah, but he's not that cool of a guy.
He also did things off the field.
yeah.
That's what I'm
also,
Defensively.
Terrell Suggs broke his nose, so take that.
It's a lot of words for
Get owned.
something that's not no one cares about. So,
Okay.
so
I
Kyleigh,
forgot
what
you're
do
a rookie and you don't
what
know
do
things about
you-
things that happened in the past. Sorry.
no, I've seen Big Ben play. I like the.
I don't care, John. Moving on.
2015
Line
Steelers,
back.
they were
Oh
good.
no, defensive line. That's
Defensive
what
line. What do you got for that, Kyleigh?
14. I think they're.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
I think they have a really good. I forget what the guy's name is that's on their defensive line. What is it? Isn't there like the one dude that's really cool? I forgot what his name was.
I got, I'll just say I got a 12 out of 15
Okay.
for the defensive line. Larry Ogunjobi and
Oh, yeah.
Cam Hayward
That's who I was trying to
had
think of was Cam
20
Hayward.
and a half sacks. Or no, Larry. Let me say my words the right way.
Pause.
Larry Ogunjobi is a solid defensive lineman, and then Cam Hayward has 20 and a half sacks in the last 2 years combined. And that's what I have to say about their defensive line. It's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They-
split the difference between you guys. I got him at 13.
Okay.
Good
Sweet.
defensive line. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And then there was a sick linebacking duo there a year ago. TJ Watt, he was hurt for half the season, but year before tied the sack record. And then Alex Highsmith was 3rd in sacks last year. So if you get both those guys back healthy, that'd be crazy good. I got him at a 9 out of 10 for linebackers.
I have him at 8 because I think that, well, what you're saying is true. That also didn't happen last year, but also TJ Watt is definitely the way he is. So that,
The best.
that makes it. That's why I feel comfortable ranking them pretty high on that because I think that he's a really good player. And with someone else, he'll be good.
What's your ranking, John?
I got him at 8.75.
Oh my gosh, John.
I think they're a little bit better than what
Stop.
Kylie's saying, but a little bit worse than what Benea's saying. And
Oh, you're just splitting the difference with all these, huh?
not all of them.
John, who didn't do his homework.
I did my homework for the Bengals, but I just
We'll hit them in a second.
And-
we will hit them in a
Anyways.
second. Yeah, Steelers. they're so
Secondary. I gave them an 8 out of 10 for their DBs there. They got Patrick Peterson after 2 years with the Vikings. He's old, but I'd say he still got. He had 5 interceptions a year ago, and he was pretty good for Minnesota. Big, one of the only real good players they had on their defense. And then they also have Minka Fitzpatrick at safety, who surprisingly, to me at least, like I know he's been good. He's like sneakily having like a Hall of Fame career. He has 4 All-Pros under his belt already, and he's only been playing since 2018.
good. That's crazy.
That is really good.
What a G, dude. I have him at 7 out of 10.
And I had him at 6, so
6 out of 10, 6, 7, 8, right there.
yep.
Yeah, buddy.
For special teams,
I hate special teams.
we know. I had them at 4, and this was also kind of based on their kick return yards because they had the least in the AFC North. But also because there's not really, they don't do much on special teams. They're really not. They're not crack-a-lacking on some special teams.
Those words.
Yeah. So I don't know. What did you guys have?
I gave them a 6 out of 7. They got the hefty punter, Presley Harvin III, who weighs in at 250 pounds for a punter.
That's
6
kind of
foot.
crazy. What?
He's chunky, but he can boot that ball. And then they also got Gunnar Olszewski as their return man, and he's a former All-Pro for being a return man. So I'm giving him some points there, 6 out of 7.
I just feel like he didn't do as much as he has in
Yeah,
the past
that was
last
like
year.
2020 with the Patriots when he did that. So.
Yeah, so I feel like he's kind of gone on the downtrend. But
Yeah.
at the same time, they're not awful, so that's why I gave him 4. But anyways, John.
We give him a 5.
Oh, no decimals. Let's go.
Splitting the difference.
5.0 for me.
Wow. And then finally, kicker, I gave Chris Boswell a 4 out of 5. He only hit 71% of his field goals last year, which this is the second worst year of his career. But the 3 seasons previous to that, he's hit at least 90%. And last time he had a bad year, I think he had like 65%. And then he had those 3 consecutive seasons. So I'd imagine he's going to bounce back. He's one of the best kickers in the NFL. So 4 out of 5.
I gave him a 3 because even though he was good in the past, I think that this year he kind of stunk. 20 out of 28 field goals, and he was tied with a long field goal of 59 yards in the AFC North. So he's tied in second for long because him and McPherson had the same long. But yeah, so that's my opinion. What's yours, John?
Yeah, I think this is a down year for him. I think he comes back with fury and with gusto. Gets
Big leg.
Big leg. Yeah, makes most of his field goals. I think, like what Benea was saying. I mean, he's a good kicker. I don't think one bad year is going to be it for him. He's not that old. He's for a kicker and
Yeah. Drafted in 2015. I didn't know he was that young.
I know
He looks older than that. Well, he's also bald, so bald people just look old.
I'm sorry, David.
no win.
Shout out David.
Shout out David.
At least 40 years old.
I mean, he told me he was younger than that, but I don't believe him. So yeah, I gave him a 4.
I did not add up my points.
I think he'll be good next year and for many years to come. He's not the worst kicker in this division.
Yep.
I gave him a 78.5 overall.
Oh, I gave him a 73, which is weird because it feels like I'm higher on the Steelers than you are. But I mean, the points say otherwise.
Apparently, I think the Steelers are better than the Ravens.
Wait, what'd you give?
Okay,
that 73.5?
that is a travesty.
And you gave the Steelers.
I gave him a 71.
78.
78. And you give the Steelers a 71.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I guess whatever.
Right
Wait,
around there.
what was yours, John?
I gave him a 78.5.
Okay.
And you give the Ravens like a 71,
73.
73.
I don't fully agree with that.
I don't either.
Apparently, I do. Apparently, I do agree with that though. So
Anyways, all right.
on to the.
Oh, also real quick.
over
Steelers
under.
over under 8.5. I'm gonna take the over.
I'm smashing the over. They're an 11-win team for sure.
Well, if they only win 8 games, that means they have a losing record, and that's not allowed.
I think they go over, but barely.
So 9?
I'm saying like 9 or 10 games max, because I think that Kenny Pickett's still young, so he's good, but he's not that good, and he hasn't totally proven himself yet. So
I could see them even sneaking out 11 wins.
I can see
also
them
they're the
being.
Steelers, so they suck.
They're also the Steelers, which means they win games like that too, and it's like they're not even that good. How did they win 12 games?
Yeah,
I'm
that's facts.
thinking they're probably going to be the second best team in this division.
Oh.
I think they could.
I have them tied for second.
Yeah, but I think they take a couple wins against the Ravens and just.
I think they split games with the
Only
Ravens.
against the Ravens.
No,
And
because
then-
they're not going to be fighting for second with the Browns.
No.
Well,
Browns are
yeah.
gonna get last.
Well,
I think they'll
and-
probably split games with the Ravens, probably sweep Cleveland, and they might split games with the Bengals.
Yeah. Well, and I have good respect for their head coach, and I think he does good work, and
Yeah,
I think
Tomlin's
Kenny Pickett
awesome.
will do well under their coaching staff. So we'll see what happens.
And he doesn't
Um,
lose. He doesn't have a losing record.
It's not allowed.
It's not allowed, apparently. On to the team that I think will be. I mean, most people think this will be the.
Yeah,
the winner
they're
of
the
division.
heavy favorite to win this. We'll get to the Vegas odds here at the end, but
Yeah.
they definitely have the highest over/under.
Yeah.
Although
so,
it's still pretty tight. All of them are still pretty
Yeah,
they're not that far apart. But anyways,
I'll start us off with quarterback. I
let's
think
go.
Joey B. Joe Burrow, the man, the myth, the legend. I think he's the best quarterback in this division and the second best in the league, which kind of hurts me to say. But I gave him a 19 out of 20, and apparently Kyleigh thinks Lamar
Lamar's better.
Jackson is a 20 out of 20.
Well, we'll see.
I
We'll
give
see what she gives Burrow.
Whoa!
We'll see
I
what she
gave
gives
Burrow a
Burrow.
22. I
22.
ranked
22.
No,
can't
like
do that.
20 also.
That's
Oh,
Dummy. Okay. Anyways,
that's illegal.
I gave So
Oh, my fault. I'm not allowed to talk.
okay, stop. Anyways, so I gave Burrow and Lamar 20s, and then Watson and Pickett both 10s. So,
Wow.
I think that Lamar and Burrow play very differently, but they're kind of on similar levels as far as how well they play when they're healthy.
Yeah,
So,
I give Burrow a 19 out of 20, And the only reason he's not a 20 out of 20 is because his name is not Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes is the worst. Hate that guy.
Yeah, but he is a 21 out of 20, I think.
Yeah.
And
Except his brother went to jail and his
Yeah.
family's
Well,
got
until
divorced.
Patrick bailed him out. So
Yeah.
so
Wow.
I think at their very, very highest peak, I think Lamar plays as good, if not better, than Joe Burrow.
Absolutely.
But he hasn't been playing like that, and he gets injured a lot.
Burrow, I think, is more consistent. Honestly, I feel like Burrow is almost like the idea of like a perfect quarterback. Yeah. Like if you were making a quarterback in a lab, he'd be kind of close to like a Joe Burrow, or maybe like an Andrew Luck type of guy. You know, these
Except
guys
he
who are coming
wins.
out of college and like they're that dream first overall pick. I would say that applies to both those guys. And I think, Burrow, you know, he's got the personality, and then he's got the swag, and he's got his play on the field.
And he has a very high floor.
Yep.
He doesn't play bad often. He had a bit
That's
of a
true.
slump coming out of his Super Bowl run for a couple games there, and then
Then he got it all together.
and he got it all together, which you can't really say for the Rams. But
Facts.
we'll get to that in a previous. Wow.
In a previous, we'll get to that in a previous episode.
Yeah, you can go listen to it right now. But yeah, we'll get to that later. But I think a lot of the time he plays very, very good. He doesn't make a lot of huge errors or mistakes, and you know he's just that guy. He's the best in this division, hands down. He's better than Lamar.
Well, and he's also one of the only guys that the NFL posts thirst traps of on a very consistent basis. I don't know what that counts for, but like
I'm not complaining.
Based NFL.
Based NFL for sure.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Running back.
Running backs.
Whoa, Jinx.
Oh, my
Whoa,
goodness.
I'm going first though. I gave him a 5. What? Because I mean they got Mixon, but like what else do they have?
Do
you know,
they have
like
Mixon though? I mean, he's currently on the roster. Yeah.
yeah, but like
But
and I'm
he's
talking
gotten
about
in a lot of trouble off the field. We'll see if
Samaje
he's there.
yeah. So
Ryan,
I'm
not
talking
there.
about.
He's in Denver.
Dang it.
Wait, what? No, and I'm just talking purely about last season. That's really all they had.
John having to change his rankings because he didn't know Samaje Perine hit free agency.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 out of 8 because my only notes here are Joe Mixon.
That literally that's mine. It just says Mixon.
Yeah,
after
it's like
it.
that's it.
I had him at a 7. I didn't know Samaje Perine was gone. I
Come
really
on,
liked
man.
Samaje Perine. I had him on my fantasy team. He's a powerful man. He
Now he's gonna be doing it for Denver and Russell Wilson.
he would take people and just
Make
he's
them not be there anymore.
he'd be gone. Like he'd dribble full grown men's like from the helmet down to the ground, and they'd bounce.
And
And-
keep dribbling.
Yeah, and he'd just keep going. He's a powerful little man. He's like Derrick Henry in a smaller body, and
Yeah.
yeah, but he's not there anymore. So I put him down to a 5. Joe Mixon, good guy at
Football, not off the field.
Yeah,
the field, and we don't
yeah.
know if he's going to be there. So I'll have him at a 5.
The AFC North has issues with people doing stupid things off
Yeah,
the field.
especially running backs. Like,
I'm going to
what's up
start
with that?
off wide receivers though. I
go.
think they have the best wide receiving core in the league.
So what do you give him?
A 13 out of 12 because I gave him
Oh,
that
that's
1
right,
point
the
up.
extra point. I gave him a 12 out of 12.
I did as
I
well.
said also probably best receiver room in the league. They got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. That's a fantastic trio.
Yeah, as Tyler Boyd as your third string
He
guy,
would be a number one in Houston or, I mean,
he'd be a number
a
one.
lot
in
of places.
10 other teams.
Tennessee.
And he's their third, and that's crazy.
Yeah, and Burrow can just kind of hug it down the field and know that Chase is going to be there. You know,
Screw it, he's down there somewhere.
He's
He said
he's
that
his
in an
man.
interview.
Oh, he did. That's
Yeah.
actually funny.
He said, "Screw it, Chase is down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Just huck it up."
Well, and I feel like that's part of the reason that Burrow is so consistent too, is because he has those guys who are just showing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every time down the field, short field, whatever, they're there. So
Yeah, tight ends. They have. Excuse me, I cannot find him.
Well, my notes, I have tight ends 2 out of 8. My note says not much going on here.
you have 2. You gave him a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I gave him a 5. I was a little generous, but really they're just kind of there. They don't do much.
Yeah.
Let's see. They have Hayden Hurst, and they
Well, they had Hayden Hurst
Yeah. In previous times.
last year. He was
Yeah.
pretty good from last year. And then, yeah, they lost him. They didn't draft a tight end,
Yeah.
at least early. I don't know what they did late in the draft. And then they didn't really address it.
No, they just kind of have, because then the next tight end is, I guess, Mitchell Wilcox, who I don't even know who that guy is.
He's definitely there.
Yeah, I have my tight ends at a 4-5 out of 8. And, I mean, if Joe Burrow's throwing to you, I think you'll catch the ball. Or it'll either be on you or you'll drop the ball.
Yep.
But I
Yeah.
think they can be good regardless of really who they are. Because,
I
like,
agree.
when Tom Brady was balling out to all these receivers and then they go to different teams and they suck. So, like, if they're a bad receiver or a mediocre receiver and they have a really good quarterback, the quarterback elevates them
Yep.
a lot. So, I think they could be all right.
Let's go to something that's been a talking point for the last probably 3 years now for Cincinnati, and that's their offensive line, which, in my opinion, still isn't great. I only gave them a 5 out of 10, but it has slowly gotten better, last year and now this year with them signing Orlando Brown Jr. from the Chiefs.
Yeah, I gave him an 8.
Oh, wow.
Because I think it's on, like you said, it's on the uptrend. And I feel like all of these O-lines are kind of, that's what I said. I gave everyone in the AFC North an 8 because also I don't pay as much attention to O-lines either. But I think that they're on their way up. So,
My only thing I have written down for O-line is just bad.
You have them as a bad out of
just
10.
the word
Bad
bad.
out of 10. I think that'd be like 4 out of 10. So I'll say 4.
Okay.
They let their mans get sacked, and this is crazy, 41 times,
It's too much.
Wow.
41 times.
That's a lot of times.
And that's the Ravens together with Huntley and Lamar Jackson together. They had 33 for both those guys.
What's that, like 11 less than, right?
11 less than. And together with Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett, they had 44. The Browns did, and that's with 2 guys,
Yeah.
and that's almost the same amount. And it's just not good back there.
And that's going to wear on Burrow, too, if that,
Please don't follow Andrew Luck's career path.
Yeah.
Please.
Please don't.
And even the Steelers together with Pickett and Trubisky, they had 36
Yeah.
sacks. So they're just really letting their mans get just hornswoggled back there.
Yep.
It is not a fun
Hopefully
time.
Orlando Brown Jr. will help fix that.
Yeah.
We will see.
To the defense, and I really like their defensive line. I gave them a 13 out of 15 because Trey Hendrickson plus Sam Hubbard plus DJ Reader plus BJ Hill equals scary.
I don't like
Sure
Sam
does.
Hubbard for obvious
Because
reasons.
of the playoff game.
Including when he stole the ball and
That was
did
awesome.
what he did.
I'm sure you don't think that, but it
like,
was awesome to watch.
it's going to be funny in a couple of years. It's still not very funny. But I still gave him a 12 because I wanted to dock a lot more points for hatred's sake. But, I'm choosing to be fairly neutral, and I gave him a 12 because I think that
neutral.
they've got a decent line, and I think they're going to be good.
You think 12 is decent?
Out of 15, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm at 13, so I think they're pretty good. If they can get both their lines acting like their defensive line, I think they'll be chilling. They went to a Super Bowl with having a terrible offensive line. What would happen if they had a good offensive line,
Who knows? Magical things.
I think that last play in the Super Bowl with the Bengals, probably he would have got the ball off. He had a man open, but he just got attacked.
We're still talking offensive line?
Well, for that offensive line, it was ruined. But I think if they get that offensive line working back with the same level as the defensive line, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
My
I was
fault.
like, I thought, are we going backwards? What's going on?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Linebackers, I got them at a 7 out of 10. Got Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. They're both solid linebackers. They combined for 222 tackles last year.
Crazy. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, so that's why I gave them a 9. So I feel like they were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at 8, and that's I didn't say that
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Wow, how
Boom.
special.
All right, let's jump to the secondary. Not a huge fan of the secondary now that Jesse
No,
Bates
that's
is gone.
terrible.
He signed with Atlanta, and I don't really like a lot of the guys they brought in to kind of replace him. They still got Mike Hilton in the secondary. Eli Apple's not there anymore, and say what you will about Eli Apple, he talks trash when he shouldn't. But when he's not talking trash, he's actually kind of a solid corner out there. But looking at their depth chart, at least as of recording, he's not currently on the roster. So
I gave them a 5 because I think that their secondary is not very good, and I think that they did not do very much. And like you said, there's a lot of questionable who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. And I just think that it's not helping them any, and that's a need they need to address because, again, it's just not good.
Yeah.
End of story. It's just terrible. None of these teams have great secondaries, let's be honest.
What you got for
But-
secondary there, John?
I've been 5. I also didn't know Eli Apple was gone, so
Readjust.
we adjust, put him
And
down to
Jesse
5.
Bates. Like,
And this is not loving it right now.
Yeah.
special
out of 10.
teams.
Hate special. I'm just kidding.
John
Me,
Moore.
literally.
My notes say it's there.
Sure is. I give it a 5 out of 7.
I gave him a 4 out of 7.
And I gave him a 6.
Whoa.
Based on mostly, I was basing the special teams besides the Ravens on mostly kick return yards because I don't really care about other teams' special teams unless they're really doing great things.
Yeah.
So they had the second I thought they had the second. They were the third. I'm stupid. Anyways, they had 596 yards, kick returns. Yeah, I think they're there. I probably should have rated them a little lower because I thought in my brain they were the second. So I'm going to bump them down to a 5.
Okay. Call it a day.
And for kicker, I have McFrosty at a 4.5 out of 10. Wow, I'm just
Out of
talking a lot. 4.5 out of 5. He's really good. I like him a lot. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's hit just under 84% of his kicks over the first 2 years of his career. Plus, he unscrewed that Gatorade bottle that one time
Crazy.
in 2020 with the kick. And so he's going to get a 4 out of 5 for me because he's not Justin Tucker.
And then I gave him a 4 as well. He also had a long field goal of 59 yards, tied with Boswell. I think he's cool. He just hasn't proven himself in the way Tucker has proven himself. He also, they don't use him nearly as much as they do Tucker. I mean, we used Tucker probably more than most teams use their kicker, but at the same time.
Because you have to keep settling for field goals.
All right, shut up. Anyways, he is
I
24.
was about to say.
But also because, other teams have to go for it because their kicker's bad, and then they end up not getting.
Sure, yeah, from like 60 yards out or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, he had 24 out of 29. So, compared to Tucker's 37 out of 43. Yeah. So,
It's pretty similar.
Final scores. They got my highest ranking. The Bengals do it a 78 out of 105.
mine is 84.
Ooh.
84.
So they're ranked highest. I didn't mean to do that to myself, but
No, you're the Ravens like a
The Ravens
92.
like a 96.
It was 92. Never mind.
Okay. I had my my Bengals here at
Your Bengals?
My Bengals, yes. I had them at 81 because I do think they're the best team in this division. You know what? I have the Ravens at a 73.5 and with the Steelers over them. I like that. I think
Yeah.
the Steelers
You
are going to
would.
beat them. I do. I wouldn't. I do.
Well, because I think you're showing your rookiness a little bit there too, as the
I'm not biased.
There was no bias on this podcast from either side, neither to my right nor my left.
Okay. I'm just saying that you have to be a little bit unbiased, and I feel like that's a very biased. Like, do you think that Kenny Pickett and their
Yes.
running backs and wide receivers are going to perform better than Lamar is this year
I do,
with
yeah.
Andrews and Bateman and OBJ and Zay Flowers?
Well, you're only going to have those guys for 5 games. They're all going to be hurt, so it doesn't really matter. We have to just me as a big Steelers fan, we just have to wait out.
Really likes 2 of their players.
We have to just wait it out until you guys are all hurt, and by that
Okay,
time,
no, I'm gonna post podcast. We're gonna bet money on who has a better record.
Ooh. Let's see
So,
it.
anyways, continue with the over under. I think they were what like 11.
Vegas has them, 11 and a half.
Yeah.
That's close.
Okay. This is my opinion. I'm taking the over
Mm-hmm.
because I think the Ravens and the Bengals are both gonna win between 11 and 13 games.
Yeah, I can see it.
And I think that they're going to win very similar amounts of games, in my opinion, with the Ravens' new wide receiver core and with everyone hopefully being back healthy. I think that they're going to be. I mean, we in that playoff game, how that Sam Hubbard play not happened, we had scores there.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% believe we would have won that game. We had the momentum. The Bengals were falling apart at the seams, and then kind of a fluke. Tyler Huntley being the way he is. Play and our old offensive coordinator being the way he was, it just all combined to be terrible. But I think that we really honestly could have won that game, and so I think it's going to be Baltimore Cincinnati is going to be one to watch next year. I think for sure.
Agreed.
I think Cincinnati's over 11.5.
I think they're over, but I think it's going to be close. They might only get 12. They only got 12 last year.
It'll be It'll be tight.
12 or 13.
Yeah, they would have had another game there.
But they might only get 11. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 11-6.
Yeah, I think they're going to the.
I think 11 is their floor, assuming they stay healthy.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Kyleigh, for coming on.
Yes, thanks for being our second guest. If you, loyal listener or viewer, have made it this far and you're a fan of a team that's not in the AFC North, and maybe you want a shot to come on the pod, especially if we know you in person, but even if we don't, get you in on maybe Discord or something like that. We're trying to get a guest on every one of these episodes if we can, so let us know in the comments of YouTube, and maybe you'll be on the next episode. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching or listening or whatever you did to enjoy this podcast. Thank you, Kyleigh, again. And
thanks for having me
We'll
on.
see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.